everybody, it is Kyya here, back with another video. I don't know what this is, but hey, I wanted to actually get on here and talk about something that is like really dear to my heart. Grief, coping with loss, especially as a college student, especially as a Christian college student, someone who has basically lost a loved one while still being basically a kid. I dealt with that. I lost my grandmother, my dad's mom, to cancer back in 2015, and I was 18 years old and I was about to start my second semester of college. So you can kind of get a glimpse of how hard that would have been for me, and I want you guys to excuse the emotions if they do come. I was 18 when I lost my grandmother. Let me just back up and let y'all know like who my grandmother was to me. She wasn't a grandma who I would just talk to once every month on holidays, just random times of the year. I talked to her every single day. I went over her house maybe at least once a week. I sat with her at church every Sunday. I would get so excited when I was able to go home with her after church, and we would either go out to eat or she would cook supper. I would talk to her on the phone almost every day. I think I said that, but we talked all the time. She would take me to school whenever I would miss the bus. No, I really did miss the bus. Go to her house, me, my sister, my little sister, and my two cousins, and we would just spend time over there, you know, do grandkid things like play outside and get on the computer and do karaoke and dance around and watch TV and eat and take a nap. She was actually like one of my favorite people because she was so sweet, very affectionate. She really loved everyone that was in her life, and I don't know, so that kind of gives you a gist of how close we were. She ended every conversation with "I love you." She would leave you voicemails. Still have all her voicemails. She was just that person who was so sweet and so close to you, and you couldn't really imagine losing somebody so close, you know? Doesn't even scrape the surface of everything, but if I wanted to summarize it, that's what it would be. I was a granny's girl for sure. Like, if you saw my grandmother, you saw me. My short little self walking right beside her, or sitting right beside her, or right behind her. Like, I was always near her. Like, sometimes at church, people would see me. Where's your grandmother? We were just like a kind of a package deal, especially at church, especially like when we were over her house, you know, and I would always love going over to her house. And I would be like, can I come over? And I'll ask her that, and she would tell me, you know, I don't have any groceries or anything. And I'm just like, I just want to come over. Like, I don't really think she understood how, I knew she knew I loved her, but I don't think she understood the closeness I felt with her. I don't know what it was. We just always clicked. I went to college, and before I went to college, maybe the few weeks before I was going to school, or that week before, my grandmother decides to take me out to eat, and we were just eating, I guess, that last time, and just talking. I wish I could remember the conversation we had that day, but that's another story. I remember this specific moment I wanted to share with you all, just kind of overall summarizing the closeness we had. She dropped me off, you know, at my house. She picked me up and then she dropped me back off. I had on a red dress, a blue jean jacket, a brown purse, and my hair was like straight down. You know, my hair was relaxed, so my hair was straight down or whatever. She took a picture of me. My Kyya to take a picture because she loved pictures. So she took a picture of me. She took that picture. She's like, I'm gonna send this to you. And she told me, looked me in my eyes, she's like, I'm really gonna miss you. Please don't lose contact. It's like I told y'all, I talk to her almost every day. Please call me. Oh, please keep in touch with me. Please remember to call me. And I just like, hey, I'm not gonna stop calling you, girl. Like, I love you so much, you know. I'm not gonna stop calling you. But she gave me a hug. When I got in the house, closed the door, like the screen door, so I could still see her, and I closed the actual front door. She waited till I got into the house to pull off and pull up the driveway. She backed up. I don't know. I just remember, y'all. I just remember everything. And I looked out the window and I saw her. Bro, I'm about to cry. I saw her pull up to the stop sign and watch the car just drive off. I cried so hard. I'm just like, why am I crying? You know, like I'll never like not keeping communication with you. You're my grandmother, you know. I'm always call you, and it just felt like, dang, I think that's what kind of initiated the homesickness in college. Fast forward to college, I moved in or whatever, and just started feeling homesick, I guess, and I was really homesick, and I decided to write letters to my family members. So I wrote them letters. I wrote my mom a letter, my dad a letter, my uncle a letter, and my grandmother a letter. I don't remember who I sent the letter to specifically. Like I remember them, but I don't remember if I sent my granddad a letter or anything. I wrote them letters and I mailed them out. The stamps I used to mail them out were stamps that my grandmother gave me like months prior. I guess because she wanted me to write. So I wrote her a letter. Here is the letter that I wrote to my grandmother. Here it is. It's pretty long. I wrote it handwritten and I had sent it in the mail. So, dear Granny, I miss you so much. I tear up every time I think about it. I miss you being just 5 minutes away, but I know you're just a phone call away. Your sweet spirit is everything to me. I've been feeling so empty. I feel so homesick, but I guess it's just gonna take some time. I love you so much. Thank you for being so supportive. I couldn't ask for a better grandmother. I have the coolest granny. I definitely didn't write this in order. Just want to skip around a little bit, but that was like the gist of the letter I wrote her. This was probably written October of 2014. So that was that. Wrote that letter. She's like, I got your letter, you know. She called me, and as soon as she got it, I was like, hey, I'm so happy you got your letter. And then I was talking to her, and I was like, great. I really want to transfer back home to a school closer to y'all so I can just kind of get rid of this, shake this homesickness. And she was like, come on home. She wasn't even hesitant. She wasn't like, well, my kid, think of. She was like, come on home. Okay, you know, Granny's on board. Let me ask my parents. Ask my parents, they're like, nah, you know, you just got there. You know, you need to adjust. They wasn't on board with it. So I just kind of shook it off. You know, like I said, I said in the letter, I was like, it probably is just going to take some time. So, you know, I didn't leave. Fast forward to when she got sick. And at first, I didn't really think it was a big deal. Now, let me explain that. At first, because I'm like, Granny's never sick. She got sick. You know, she was in and out, hospital, whatever. And, you know, I had ended up coming home on breaks. I remember that Thanksgiving, we were going to have a big dinner at our house like we always have every year, but we decided since Granny was in the hospital, we ate like a quiet dinner, Thanksgiving dinner at home first, and then we went over to the facility. She was actually not in the hospital. She was in like a home, what do you call it, like a nursing home facility. She was in there, and we, you know, went over there. She's in good spirits. So, you know, we were like, she's coming home, she's gonna get better. She didn't get better. I think I didn't take that well. I'm just like, because I'm like a very optimistic, I'm very like, I look at the glass half full instead of half empty. And I was just like, Granny's gonna be fine, you know, she's gonna be fine, she's gonna bounce back, she's gonna get over the sickness. So fast forward to maybe the end of the year, Christmas time hit, realizing that she was getting weaker. I remember sitting on my bed, and when they told me she was in hospice. And I'm just like, what is hospice? You know, y'all, I'm 18 years old at this point. I'm about to turn 19 in April. I'm just like, I know what hospice is. I've heard of hospice, but I was just so in denial. I'm like, what is hospice? Looked up hospice, and it said a facility for people who are preparing to transition. Transition to what? So, went to the facility. When she was there, she wasn't talking or anything. I was holding her hand, just sitting there like thinking of the memories and thinking of like everything, you know, my whole childhood like flashing in my eyes. I'm just like, you are a big part of my childhood. You are a big part of me becoming who I am today. It's just like, what? Why is this happening? Last days, played her favorite song on my phone because she could still hear you and everything. She just couldn't respond, you know. The day of her passing, I was actually supposed to go back to school to move back in to start the second semester. And y'all, let me go back. That first semester could not focus at all because I'm just so worried about my grandmother. Half of me was like, she's gonna get better, no big deal. And then half of me was like, oh my God, she's really sick, you know, what am I going to do? It was a bad first semester, real bad. Very stressful, very hard semester. And I was supposed to go back to school. We were going to leave at like 10 or 11 o'clock that morning. And my dad came in my room. I had my suitcases packed and everything. He was going to work and I gave him a hug and I was like, we'll see you next time, you know. And then I went back to sleep because it was still early. So I had some time to, you know, still rest a little bit, maybe 30, an hour later. I don't even know what time it was at this point. Me and time on this day was just not, I wasn't even thinking about time. He came back in my room, like, you know, after that time had passed. And I was just like, what's wrong? Why are you still here? And he was like, you're not going back to school today. You know, it's time. I'm like, time for, and it hit me, you know, I'm like, oh. So I got dressed and I went over there and said our goodbyes. And she passed that day, January 9th, 2015. It was like maybe 8:30 in the morning. I'm not really sure the exact time, probably like 8:30 to 9:30. It was that morning. Maybe like 8:30 though. That was it, you know. And I had to go back to school like maybe 2 days later. Someone took me back to school. And I had to come right back home. A few days later, I had to settle into my classes and let my teachers know that my grandmother had passed and I wasn't going to be able to make it to class these days. And I had to go back home. But I rode the Greyhound all the way back, and that ride was so long and so frustrating because like my mind, I'm completely grieving, you know. This is so fresh. And I literally was just beside her, holding her hand while she was still here, you know. And that whole moment was just so hard. You know, the funeral passed and I had to go right back to school. Beautiful service. I just didn't want to say goodbye, but knew I had no choice. So back to school, starting a new semester. I was really numb. I was just like, well, this is it. I gotta keep living. But I didn't want to go forward without her. It was hard. So a few months passed, you know, the semester I'm struggling. Semester was tough, but I made it through. I had some friends, some good friends that, you know, helped, but you know, that let me vent and everything. But then I was talking to family members, you know, just trying to get through But what no one tells you about grief is that once the funeral's over and everyone's, not sending any more condolences, they say their condolences once it happens, and then, time passes. It's just like, okay, you feel that void. You really feel it. And she's really gone. So I cry almost every night. Had dreams about her. And just a disclaimer, I wanted to be really honest and raw in this video because these are thoughts that I've had in my head, what I went through. A lot of these things I never told anybody, so nightmares, just oof. And after everything happened, the semester went by, I decided I was really in a dark place, so I decided to go to therapy and kind of see what I need to do. Talk to somebody or something. I never thought I would confide in a stranger, but I did. And I went to a counselor, and I was a wreck. I was in tears. He was like, okay, just let me know. Kind of tell me who you are. Tell me what's going on. And I was like, I just lost my granny, and that's really it. I don't just need to analyze it, I guess. Told the story, what I just told y'all, but in much more detail. And yeah, I didn't know how therapy worked. I'm like, I don't really fit into the spectrum. And he was like, you can get counseling for anything. Why are you, you don't have to do that. Just tell me, let me know, talk about it. So I talked about it with him, and I was like, wow, I really like this therapy thing. I never thought I could, do therapy because I'm a Christian woman. We don't really, I'm not saying we don't glorify therapy, but no one talks about therapy. You pray, you read your Bible. That. And then the semester ended, went home for the summer, decided to do counseling home. And I was able to get with a counselor, tell her the story about everything. Like I did the first counselor, open up, and she was like, okay, well, let's find some coping mechanisms, some coping strategies so we can help kind of put that grief into artistic form. So what we did, we made scrapbooks. I don't have the scrapbook I made right now. It might be under my bed or something, but a big pink scrapbook, put pictures, put her name on it, and just memories in the scrap. I need to continue to make more pages, but I had 5 pages I did. I need to add on to it, but made a scrapbook. That helped. So here is a picture of me and her at my high school graduation. So a picture stuck to it, so I'm trying to hold it right. This is me and her at my high school graduation. I'm sorry, I loved her, man. But yeah, and I put pictures in the memory box and everything like that. Yeah, so after counseling at home, I went back to school. I think the summertime, that first summer was really hard because I'm actually at home realizing that she's not here. So that was hard. And then her birthday had passed, May 6th. Mother's Day had passed. Her anniversary had passed, her wedding anniversary. My granddad's birthday had passed. All of that is in May. And then, go back to school after that. And I go to another counselor, talk about it, because the first counselor I had at school, he had moved jobs. So he wasn't there anymore. So I went to go see a counselor named Jay. Had talked to him for maybe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. I was talking to Jay, going to Jay and stuff. I had sessions, honestly, almost every few weeks. I was going to Jay. We had 30-minute sessions, and it was just, I feel like it was very productive. It really helped my grief. I really feel like that was something, now that I think back on it, it was something that I needed, because I couldn't imagine where I would be if I didn't go to counseling. Not saying that, God wasn't there, or my family, I didn't have that support from them, But counseling, talking to someone, because like I said, I'm at school, so I wasn't able to grieve with my family. I was grieving separately, hours away. Moving forward, pushing forward. Eventually I stopped going to counseling, and I got like involved in like, a church on campus, and I was already going to this church, but I got involved with them. I let them know what I was going through. They were supportive. Went to church with them, and then I gained some friends. I lost some friends. Whatever, the usual stuff you go through in college and in school. I ended up changing my major and all that good stuff. I went in as a nursing, came out finance. So I was just like, what? Fast forward to my senior year of college. I'm almost done. I'm learning how to get to the other side of grief slowly but surely. I'm seeing the other side of the depression and the other side of sadness, and realizing that her legacy lives on through me, and she's still loved by so many. So after that, my last counselor, I had another counselor. I stopped counseling, so I went back to another counselor just for like other issues, going on in my life. And then I made a book. I actually have my book. I kept it in my memory box. So it was like a summary of literally, this is so like fitting for this video. So here's the book. So chapter 1 is freshman year, chapter 2 sophomore, goes on and on, junior and senior year. And then I actually have a chapter 5, which was before graduation. Chapter 1 says new beginning, college. Well, let me show y'all. Adjusting to being independent, losing grain and being told to push through. My sophomore year, still adjusting, still grieving, and losing and meeting old and new friends, like I told y'all. Chapter 3 is junior year. Depression kicks in. Like, I got really depressed, and then I was still grieving, of course, and I felt alone. And I discovered anxiety and getting over Granny's death. Chapter 4, senior year. Finishing up, depression seeped back in, accepting the grief still. I spelled grief wrong. I'm so sorry. In chapter 5, before graduation. In chapter 5, before graduation, this is crazy, y'all. Feeling happy, anticipating what is next, growing up, coping better, and carrying Granny with me. And I didn't just write this just to like, okay, let me just make it, but this really was like my timeline of me, my grief. I called it Don't Postpone Joy because I thought that my joy stopped, or I had to put it on the back burner because my grandmother was no longer around. And that's not the case. You don't have to do that. So it's a little book I made, when I was in school. Fast forward to graduation. Best day of my life. I was able to finish in 4 years. And got off that stage, I cried in my mom's arms, and she was like, I know you did it. Oh, my tears like flew out my eyes like a waterfall. Yes, I did it. And I did it for myself. I did it for my family. I did it for God. And I also did it for my grandma, because she would have wanted to see me graduate from college. As of today, this is a year later from graduating from school. I'm cool. I feel better than I was. Grief's still there. I still feel the pain of losing her. Like, when I talk about it, I literally get sucked back into everything. And I don't think that will ever go away, because this is what I experienced. Someone can't take you out of your experience. I didn't really talk about like the spiritual aspect of everything. Like I said, I was depressed. I really was mad at God for a long time. I was like, how could you do this? How could you take my grandmother away? But then I realized, it was selfish of me to say that. For one, why would you say that about God? But two, Granny, she's in no more pain. She's content with the life that she lived, and she was a good person. She leaves a legacy that's gonna live on forever. Like, to this day, we still love her. Constant love that never dies, never is gonna go away. My advice to anyone going through grief: time doesn't heal all, because it still hurts. If a wound is healed, it wouldn't hurt anymore, and it still hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much. So time will definitely improve your grief. It'll definitely help it. My mom told me as soon as my grandmother passed, she was like, there is a whole nother side of grief you can't even see right now. Because my mother had a lot of loss in her life, and you can see that. She sees it because she's already on the other side of grief with her family members that she lost, you know. So I think about that all the time. Like, she said that to me, and that could have went in one ear and out the other, but it stuck with me, and I'm glad it did, because I see the other side of grief. Even though it's been almost 4 years, it has been 4 years, I'm sorry. And I think time, like feeling and understanding that 4 years has gone past, it's like, dang, that kind of makes me sad, because I used to tell myself, what am I going to do when 1 year hits? What about 10 years? Oh my God, 20 years? Like, how am I going to feel? Like, at the end of the day, I can think of her smile, think of her voice. I can hear it in my heart. She's in my dreams to this day. I still dream about her, but they're not nightmares. I may have a few nightmares, but they're not like to the point where, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with counseling, and no one can tell you how to grieve. You can't tell somebody how to grieve. No one grieves the same. And I had to realize that. As a young adult, it was hard because I was still a kid, you know, at 18. Like, I just turned 18. I'm still a kid. And I lost the main person that was a part of my childhood. Like, it really forced me to mature and grow up. If I could touch somebody else with my story. I mean, I'm an advocate for mental health and counseling and therapy, and realizing that time heals all, and that I'm not going to say it's okay to turn from God, but it is okay to not be okay, and it is okay to feel emotions, but don't turn your back on Him. I do have some Bible verses I want to share for my Christians who are listening, watching my video. There's videos all over the place, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to really edit this one because I think this is it. So, I think I did mention earlier in the video that I had like a problem with moving forward and fearing about the future. I didn't want to move on without her. And my favorite verse, it's been my favorite verse since high school: for God didn't give us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. This verse has always been on my heart, but I actually had to put it into action whenever I lost her. I felt this fear in my heart. I was like, I can't move forward. I can't move on. But then I was like, God doesn't want us to fear. Why would I fear? So I had to put that in my mind while I was grieving too. You know, seeing that loss so close to me was like a reality check, you know. And even my grandmother would quote this scripture, James 4:14, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. Life is a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes. She would always say that. So, I mean, it's a Christian woman. It's a Christian period. We know that life is short. Life is, you know, you're here one moment, you're going the next. Getting right with God, doing our parts is important. You know, if you're a believer. And Psalms 50:15, call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver you, you know. At the time I was sad and I didn't want nothing to do with church or God. I was so mad, you know. And I'm going to be honest with my feelings. I was upset. I'm like, why would you do this? Like, I prayed to you, but those are my feelings. as soon as it happened, guys, it wasn't like years later. I'm like, ugh. I still believe in God. My faith is stronger than it ever has been, and I'm grateful for that. So, but I know that I need to go to him while I'm in trouble, because who else is going to help me? 1 Corinthians 16:14, do everything in love. Granny was a loving person. She loved everybody she encountered. She was affectionate. She was just so loving. I think she really rubbed off on me, her affection. Like, I'm so affectionate. Like, she's one of the reasons why I'm so affectionate. So, do everything in love. She did everything in love. So I want to do everything in love. Even God showed us love through his son. So it's like, I really got to tie everything back to the book and realize that this is, you know, God is good. So, that is me coping with loss as a young adult. You know, I'm not saying it doesn't hurt anymore. It just, it doesn't. It makes it eases the pain. But that is all for this video. I'm really surprised I did not cry all the way through it. I tried to record this video 3 times. Finally got it recorded. Please comment your thoughts. Just really want to touch somebody, my story, because I love my granny, you know, I still love her, so I want to share my story, you know. It's been almost 5 years later, so thanks for watching. Bye.